Chapter 4, Meditation 1, Connecting with the Breath. The place where we are going to begin, and where all genuine spiritual practice begins, is by first coming into the body. In this practice, we begin by relating to our breath and our physical body in a mindful, conscious, or wakeful way. The stilling of your physical body will help a great deal in the quieting of the mind. Your first step, then, is to find a stable and comfortable posture so that you can become aware of your body in the present moment. You can sit squatting on a cushion, you can sit cross-legged, or you can sit on a chair with your feet flat on the floor. What matters is that you have a sense of stability, comfort, and ease. Your body should rest comfortably on the earth as if you are supported by the chair or the cushion, so that you can sit still for a number of minutes without your body being under stress. You should sit relatively straight with dignity, but without being rigid. If you're sitting cross-legged, you might want to experiment with making sure that you get your rear end high enough off the floor that your knees can be stable and pointed slightly downward. You can experiment with different heights to find a way to sit comfortably. Allow your back to be straight enough without being rigid so that your breath can be open and easy and the energy can move through you. Starting with a straight posture also helps to keep you alert. If your posture begins to slump, then there is a tendency to go to sleep. Although sleep is wonderful, it is different than meditation. Once you have found a comfortable posture for sitting straight without being rigid, allow your shoulders to drop and your hands to rest anywhere that is comfortable. People usually rest their hands in their laps or on their knees, which allows the shoulders to be relaxed and the chest to be open and the belly to be soft. You can experiment with your posture in order to find a way to sit where you are upright and at the same time relaxed. To meditate is not to fight with yourself. And if you become uncomfortable, for instance, if there is discomfort in your legs, it is okay to mindfully move them. Once you have found a comfortable way to sit, then allow your eyes to close gently. Or if you want, you can leave them open slightly. Keep them pointed lightly downward toward the floor and do not look around the room. Next, bring your awareness into the present moment. Become aware of your environment and the sounds around you. Then become aware of your body, of what your body feels like, your physical sensations, and perhaps tension within your body. Take a few deep breaths and relax. Then notice the movements of your mind and your feelings, your thoughts, your emotions, your expectations and memories. Now it is time to learn to focus. For your first meditation, we will use the natural movement of breath to begin to train your awareness to be in the present moment. The first guided meditation included in this set, Connecting with the Breath, will help you to become aware of the fact that you are breathing, or more accurately, that breathing is happening. In meditation, your goal is to experience the breath without directing or changing it, to simply become aware of how the breath breathes itself in its own rhythms. Sometimes you will experience your breath as a coolness in the nose or a tingling in the back of your throat, or you may feel the breath more as a movement in your chest or in the rise and fall of your belly. For the most part, I recommend that you breathe through your nostrils. But if you have a cold or cannot breathe through your nose for some reason, you can breathe through your mouth or some combination of the two. Mindfulness meditation is not a breathing exercise like pranayama, a yogic form of rapid breathing. It is really an exercise in training your awareness of being present. So however you feel the breath is okay. One of the first things you will notice in this meditation is how often the mind wanders off. This is actually the first insight in Vipassana meditation, called seeing the waterfall. You may tell your mind to stay on the breath, but does it listen? Hardly ever. Instead, you will catch it planning what you are going to do after you are through meditating, balancing your checkbook, or struggling with your problems. Each time you catch it wandering, you can bring it back to the breath for about 3 breaths, and then it goes off and does something else. As you follow the breath, what you begin to see is the mind's constant inner movement or dialogue. How can you train the mind in the midst of this? In meditation, the first basic instruction is that each time you become aware that you have gone off into thinking or planning or remembering, you let go of the thought and returning to the breath. So each time you drift away, return to feeling the next in-breath or the next out-breath. If it helps, as you breathe, you can say softly in the background, in, during the in-breath, and out during the out-breath. But let those words be only 5% of your attention, and let the other 95% be your awareness resting on your breath. The guided meditation included in this set is designed to help you with this basic process of becoming aware of your breath and then remaining in that awareness. This first session of meditation practice is the beginning, like the beginning of any art form. Like any other art form, the art of meditation takes some time to practice. Saint Francis de Sales said that what was necessary for a contemplative life was a cup of understanding, a barrel of love, and an ocean of patience. This patience is also the willingness to come back again and again to the present moment in your meditation practice. Training to work with the breath is a bit like training a puppy. You pick the puppy up and you set it down on a piece of paper and you tell it to stay. But does it stay? Not a chance. Like the mind, it gets up and runs around. So you pick it up and you put it back on the paper and tell it to stay again. After enough times of carrying it back and telling it to stay, the puppy begins to figure it out. We are a little slower than puppies in this regard, but it's still possible for us to train the mind. Just like when the puppy goes a piece in a corner, we can clean up the mess the mind makes and bring it back to the breath. The actual practice of meditation is the process of becoming mindful of the fact that you have strayed, bringing your attention back to the breath, and bringing the body and mind back together in the present moment. By doing it over and over again, your meditation practice begins to train you how to stay in the here and now, wherever you happen to be. Now, if you have ever trained a puppy, you know it is not a great idea to beat the puppy when it strays. It is the same for us. When you realize that you are experiencing judgmental thoughts like, I cannot do this, or I'm not doing it right, and you begin beating yourself up about it, that does not help at all. You just pick the puppy up gently and bring it back to the next breath. You try to stay present for the next couple of breaths. It is that simple. Gradually you will begin to connect with the breath. Some common questions that come up for people during their first meditation sessions have to do with the different qualities of their breathing. People might feel that there is a sense of tightness in their breathing, as if their breath becomes artificial when they pay attention to it. This experience is quite common, and it is important to simply relax and try to let the breath more easily. If there is still a feeling of tightness, just let the tightness be there with an easy mind and a light heart. Sometimes people also notice that their breath gets very soft, and they wonder if they should speed it up or make it stronger. so they can feel it more easily. But the practice is to refine your attention so that you can listen more deeply and feel what is naturally in your body. So if you feel that your breath is soft, try to let your attention match the softness of your breath and to notice its beginning, its end, and the space between breaths, to become aware of the breath as it moves in your body. Another universal experience that people notice is that their minds wander 100 or 1,000 times in 10 minutes. It is natural that the mind wanders. It has been doing it for your entire life. It is part of what all minds do. The art of meditation is to see the wandering of the mind and to acknowledge it in the moment, and then to return to your breathing. It does not matter how many times your mind wanders, as long as you always bring it back to the breath. In some ways, meditation is a remembering or a self-remembering. It is a process of waking up, of being present with the breath or the body, and then forgetting. Some people forget by having a lot of thoughts, and whether they are creative thoughts or the solutions to problems or memories or whatever. Then after a while they wake up and realize their minds have drifted off, and then they wake up and remember, oh yes, I'm meditating. Then they re-establish their attention. Part of the process is nourishing or strengthening this capacity to wake up. While you are asleep or when you have forgotten, there is not much you can do. But in the moment when you wake up, you remember to be present again. You can say to yourself, let me feel the breath. Let me be aware of what is in this moment, what my body experience is like. Gradually, as you do this, you will be able to be present longer and longer, and it will happen more and more often, until you start to live more in the present moment and less in the place of forgetfulness or fantasy or memory. It is not that thought and planning and remembering are bad. We would not be able to live without them, but they often take up 95% of our whole lives. We could live more fully with a lot less thinking.